So dear friends, once again, welcome to this CAHO webinar. And this evening, we are indeed privileged to have one of the doyens of quality in the country, Mr. Suresh Lulla. Friends, it was a pleasure that when last year, Dr. Girdhar Gyani introduced me to Mr. Suresh Lulla, and we were able to invite him to our conference at CAHOCon. Let me just tell you that by all the kinds of the responses that we got, he was one of the most admired speakers at the conference. And at that very time, I had decided that we must get him to speak to the wider audience in the form of this webinar. Mr. Suresh Lulla is a alumnus of IIT Bombay and has been mentored by none other than the quality guru Juran, about whom Dr. Girdhar Gyani talked to us in his one of the last webinars. So I'm sure that you will enjoy the charismatic Mr. Suresh Lulla. Mr. Lulla, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Agarwal. Thank you for your kind words. Welcome, friends, to this webinar. The subject given to me is continuous quality improvement in healthcare. I see this as a core value for performance excellence, because today the subject of quality has evolved into business excellence, performance excellence, and so on. I wish to record a special thank you to Dr. Vijay Agarwal and Dr. Girdhar Gyani for inviting me. I'm not from the healthcare profession, but I'll try to make the subject a little more contextual for all of you. What I have learned from Dr. Vijay is that few services affect human beings directly and personally, as do the services rendered by healthcare. Consequently, quality and healthcare are integrated. You simply can't deliver healthcare services without a quality orientation. The structure of today's presentation will be where I first talk about quality. Then I will talk about quality improvement. Thereafter, continuous quality improvement. So I'm going to use a PowerPoint, and hopefully you can all see it very clearly. The first quality paradigm we have is that functions in an organization are vertical. On the other hand, work flows horizontally across these functions to customers. Now, this is a very important quality paradigm because we are looking at work flowing along processes to the identified customer. Graphically, this is how we are organized, in silos. Each of these silos has a name, from purchasing all the way to marketing. We have owners for these silos, and we plan accordingly, financially, and it translates into a budget. So where is the customer? The customer is out there. The customer receives output of work which flows horizontally. Our accent is on the work flowing horizontally. So key in this paradigm are two terms, customer and cross-functional process. Purchase is a noun and a function, but purchasing is a verb and a process. Processes are verbs. So what is quality? While we have functional owners, we lack ownership for processes. That's where all the problems start. We accidentally deliver good quality, or we accidentally make mistakes. There are many definitions for quality. I'm biased to Dr. Duran, and I like the one, fitness for use. But regardless of which definition you go with, there have to be two dimensions to it. One is in terms of the features of the product or service that you are rendering, and the second in terms of the product or service should be free from deficiencies. We use the term quality in both contexts, and that's where some of the confusion arises. Examples of product features would be a private hospital room, an itemized hospital bill, short stay surgery. In terms of deficiencies, it could be delay in admission, overcharged for supplies received, surgery starts late. And there are several other examples on this slide. I won't go through all of them. As a result, when we have the right features, we meet customer needs. When we are free from deficiencies, without any deficiency at all, we meet customer needs. The customer experiences higher satisfaction with features. It's the reason they come to you, because you have the right features. But should their experience have hiccups and mistakes, they will have dissatisfaction. The absence of dissatisfaction does not mean you have satisfaction. They are not opposites. They are two ends of a scale. How do organizations benefit? When you have the right features, you get higher income because you can charge a better price and you have a grab of the market share. Organizations benefit when you have processes that are free from deficiencies, when there's no waste, there are no warranty or guarantee costs, the cycle times are lesser. In summary, if you say you have higher quality, when its features, it costs you more. Every feature has an associated cost. On the other hand, when you free your processes of deficiencies, higher quality costs less. So let's move to customers. Who are the customers? Anyone impacted by your work is a customer. They ultimately define quality for us. It's in the mind. It's not specifications. You have to understand the customer. Customers come in two baskets, external customers and internal customers. External customers would be the physician, the patient, the payer, nursing homes, community, regulators. And in a more current context, Mother Earth would also be your external customer. You have to look at the environment seriously. You are looking at society through the CSR and the community work you do. But please look at the environment. Then you have internal customers who are internal to your operations, such as the admissions department, the nursing unit, medical records, lab, pharmacy, financial services. These are also customers. To satisfy an external customer, a prerequisite is satisfy your internal customers. Now, why are we talking about customers? We're talking about the processes that deliver to these customers. When it's an external customer, we call it value creation process. When it's an internal customer, you call it a support process. And then there are supplier processes where you are the customer. Most problems happen through supplier processes. We tend to ignore the capabilities of our suppliers. Managing these processes requires a new paradigm here. They are similar to managing for finance. Financial planning, where you generate the budget as an output. It's owned by upper management, even though you have participation from everybody. It also has the characteristic of being done once a year. From the budget, you get targets. Target versus actual gives you control. You get an MIS. The frequency of an MIS could be monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, etc. Everyone is involved in financial control. So then you look at these numbers and you discover some are inordinately high, such as your energy bill. So you form a task force that attends to this energy problem and disbands once they've accomplished it. Quality management is very similar. Financial management is in your silos. Quality management is in your processes. Quality planning, quality control, quality improvement. I can explain the three quality processes through the Durand trilogy. Your x-axis has time. Your y-axis has quality. But what goes up is bad quality. Quality planning starts before operations commence. You understand customer needs, you translate them into features, and you design processes that can deliver those features. The output of quality planning is process capability. Process capability is to quality planning what budgeting is to financial planning. In quality planning, you decide how much bad quality you're willing to live with. Even Six Sigma permits you a few failures. Once you've defined your standards and your tolerance, operations commence. That's quality control. So long as performance is within the bands, everything is under control. Till something go out of control. We call this a sporadic spike. There's a firefighting department in the hospital called quality control that restores performance back to the standard. What do they treat? The symptomatic evidence of the problem. Hidden below the standard is chronic waste. We don't have an alarm system for this chronic waste. This is what we call the cost of poor quality. Quality improvement aims to challenge your standard by working on projects by project to a new level of performance and delivering a gain to the organization. The quality control changes to a new zone of performance. I've gone through this quality planning, control, improvement because you can't do one without the other. The three are interrelated, and the lessons you learn from this have to be fed back to quality planning so that they don't make the same mistakes again. So what is quality improvement? Quality improvement, I'd like to explain it with a project. A project we did for Tata Steel 3 decades back. The project or the chronic problem was waste, garbage not collected from the quarters. The garbage not collected from the quarters in a plant where had 65,000 people led to illness. Illness led to absenteeism. Absent employees were replaced with what they called badlis, substitutes, daily workers in the plant. Let's move to a specific project. In this large complex of Jamshedpur, one small plant was the tubes division. The tubes division had absenteeism of the order of unplanned absenteeism of the order of 1%. What this translated to is the cost of a badli, the cost of variability in the tube lengths because the skills of the badli were not as good as the original worker. And waste and an additional step of scrap and trimming the tubes. All this led to we had to diagnose the symptoms. The symptoms here being absenteeism. Translated into money terms, this worked to 15,000 rupees per month 3 decades back, which is almost 2 crores per annum. That was very big money for a small division. Now, when you diagnose the symptoms, you have to do what we call is an autopsy. You have to see with your eyes. You have to go and meet the absent employees. Now, here is the kind of situation we faced when we knocked on the door of an absent employee. It was 3 p.m. The door opened and a very healthy-looking Sardar filled the door. He was in a ganji and a lungi. And he looked a picture of health. So one asked him, "Why are you absent?" He said, "My child is not well." "What is the matter with your child?" He said, "Not much. He's got a cough and cold, sardi zukam." "So why are you not at work?" "Sir, it's like this. I went to Tata Hospital, and there the admission process is so long. It took me 2 hours, 3 decades back. Then I waited for the doctor. The doctor saw me. He prescribed medicines. And I went to the pharmacist. Again, I stood in line. By which time you had marked me absent for the whole day. So where was the remedy? In the hospital. The admissions process had to be reduced from 2 hours to a few minutes. The benefits of that were reaped by the entire campus. In money terms, that converted to 80 crores per annum. That Tata Steel 3 decades back. Similar projects were created and they saved a lot of money. So what is continuous quality improvement? Continuous quality improvement requires that we make a habit of quality improvement. How do you make a habit? By locking it into the HR system. The HR system should redefine jobs from beyond planning and control to also include improvement. Promotion policies should be linked to quality improvement. Recruitment policies should be, or the induction programs should have quality improvement as a basis. Only then would you get a habit of quality improvement. Now, I'd like to take you to a situation where quality suffered, and so did the hospital. It's going to be through a video.
Once upon a recent time, at the turn of the century, a nationally reputed cardiac surgeon was appointed to conduct a complex surgery on a young girl at a well-established hospital in Western India. The surgeon was revered as God to humanity. The best support team from a chain of hospitals had been selected owing to the risk factors that were inherent in this particular case. Each team member brought unblemished experience to the surgery. They had, in the past, worked together in various combinations. The patient was dressed for the surgery in her room and transported to the operation theatre at 7 a.m. sharp. Outside the theatre, a distance away, basic seating had been provided for 2 family members per patient being operated. 3 surgeries were in progress. Family members with stress lines crafted on their faces, silently read from small religious books. The silence was deafening. The theater doors had been shut for 70 minutes. Suddenly there was a power outage. The standby generators failed to trigger in the 7 seconds norm. The patient died. God lost his reputation.
We are open to Q&A.
Okay, so friends, I think it was a very definitely enlightening talk, which gives you a very, very clear-cut roadmap for trying to implement quality in our own organizations. I think the most important thing is the change in our mindset, that we start thinking on these lines, which is extremely important. So I'll request for any questions that you guys have for Mr. Lulla. We can start. Already there is a comment by Shashank, that very informative and illustrative talk by Mr. Lulla. I think his talk was of a quality that probably you will need to also go back and listen to it all over again also, and then try to kind of follow and implement things. I think the one carry-home message that I can at least say is that if all the people were to take up at least one project of improvement in your own organizations, I think his message would bear fruit to a vast majority of this country. Now, so there is a question that somebody is asking as to what is the mantra of continuous quality improvement? I mean, he did talk about the mantra, but Lulla, can you maybe summarize once again in some other words, what is the mantra of continuous quality improvement?
I advocate that you use tattoos. On one hand, you tattoo the word customer, and on the other, process. Don't complicate the subject any further. If you can understand the customer and you have a process that is efficient and effective. So the mantra for the process is faster, better, cheaper. Faster, better, cheaper. And if you're really aggressive, faster, better, cheaper, different.
Okay. So one of the, I think, interesting question is how to select a project.
That's a good question, actually, because the first thing you need to have in an organization is a quality council. The quality council should identify 3 or 4 processes that they believe are core processes in their organization. For these core processes, they need to estimate the cost of poor quality. Now, cost of poor quality comes from internal failures, external failures. It also calls for appraisal costs and prevention costs. When you do a Pareto on these cost of poor quality, you are likely to find nominations for projects. And you can't eat an elephant in one bite, but you can eat that elephant bite by bite. The tool you can use is flowcharting. Flowcharting has activities.
Very criteria, or how should you select a project? Now somebody is asking, what is the major hurdle in quality improvement and how to
What's the major hurdle is that we find it easy to go from symptom to cause. Implementing the remedy for the cause is the hard part. That's where people come in. And resistance to change is a big problem. So you do need some behavioral scientists to help you out there. And one way of overcoming that is to get participation from the anticipated people who will have to implement change. Get their participation right at the start. Get them to design a remedy, and then it's relatively simpler.
So somebody is asking, are nursing quality indicators a part of continuous quality improvement? Would that be coming under the total quality improvement of the respective organization? See, there are so many indicators that we routinely try to monitor in the hospitals. Would those indicators be a part of quality improvement?
That is pretty much of your control. In quality planning, set the standard. In quality control, you maintain the standard. In quality improvement, proactively challenge that standard. It's the difference between a fire prevention and firefighting. So it's good to have a dashboard. You may want to analyze that dashboard to see if certain problems do persist. But you have to actually hunt for improvement projects. Now, we worked with a few hospitals, and we find capacity utilization is a chronic problem. The remedial actions typically have been in the admissions and the discharge processes. Both are very lengthy. Now, this has been a typical guaranteed project to give you results. I'm not from your profession.
I think that sir, you said the very right thing, and that is any of these indicators, you have to challenge yourself. You have to challenge that indicator. You have
Yes.
whatever is the level that you have reached. First of all, that the problem with these indicators is that my people at the ground root sometimes are indicating that I have no problem. And sometimes if your common sense says that this no problem is not possible, First of all, we have to correct our method of collating and collecting this information. It is very important that the people at the top have to become also tolerant of looking at negative pictures from the organization. Because if they only want to hear good things, then the people below are going to sweep them under the carpet and only give the good news to the bosses. Till the time there will be a major catastrophe and a problem. So first thing is to get very, very good, I would say, credible source of creating your data that you can look at. And then, like what you said very, very nicely, is to challenge yourself that, all right, we have reached here and now we can improve it further. There is a request, sir. I will take the video link which was not been able to play here. I'll take that link from you and we will put it also on our website and I'll send it to the population. I'm sure you. So I think on the whole, this was a wonderful session, and thank you very much, sir, on behalf of all the participants, on behalf of CAHO, and we will probably look at some other aspect of project improvement or enhancement in due course of time, and then we'll get back to you. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
One last message.
Yeah.
A system can become very dead unless you have the quality improvement chapter, bringing life into it. Things are not stagnant, things are changing. And unless you have an energized improvement team that's guiding quality improvement in the organization, your system will lead you to very mediocre results. It doesn't guarantee quality. It only guarantees that you are mediocre.
Thank you, sir. Thank you on that note. Thank you so much.
Thank you.